Hello, and welcome back to the channel. Today we will be discussing homebrew of steroids. Not necessarily how to do it, but my experience about homebrewing gear. Gear is another term for steroids. I get a lot of questions like, what does gear mean? Gear is TRT, steroids of all kinds, orals, growth hormone, everything, right? I would even call GLP-1s like a form of gear, because that slang term is interesting, because it's like when you take something exogenously to change the chemistry of your body and your hormones, it's like it gets the gears going and it flips them around and moves molecules around, and it's running through your bloodstream and it's making changes. That's why GLP-1s are extremely powerful, and it's the most popular thing right now. But we're not talking about Ozempic type shit today. Today we're talking about homebrew and why I did it and why you probably shouldn't, and maybe you might want to, but it's pretty annoying, guys. And we're not talking about that bathtub fucking homebrew that you've seen on YouTube, where you'll see the guys in masks wearing their mask, and it's illegal, right? So that's another thing here. We're not promoting anything illegal. This is for entertainment purposes only. I'm not a doctor, and we're just going to talk. This is for entertainment. We're just openly discussing this subject here. Do with that what you will. I'm going to tell you what I've been through regarding this subject. I've been wanting to talk about this for a while. You know, it had such an impact on me. And let me explain what happened. So you might be considering getting on a cycle, or you might be considering getting on TRT, like a low dose, just to get your balance, like your natural state, right, back to normal, or a little bit higher than normal, higher than average. So most people, this is a very complicated topic that a lot of people just have a very hard time understanding, and it's not that difficult. There's a couple things you need to remember here. Test is best, okay? Test is best. Your body produces it naturally. Some people don't produce as much of it naturally due to external factors like the environment. For such a long time, we've been being poisoned. The air is poisoned, the water, the food is over-processed. All of those things play a role in lowering your natural energetic state. It'll make you sluggish. It'll make you tired. Overconsumption of greasy junk food will play a huge role in your libido, in your desire for life, in your motivation for life. This is what people don't understand. When you try and intoxicate a society with overly processed junk, okay, there's just too much of it, right? There's a balance you can find. There's a happy place and a happy balance you can find. But when it's just over and over again every single day, that's very abusive, and people aren't aware of this. But a lot of people are waking up. I'm seeing big changes. I'm seeing a lot of people more into fitness and health, and trying to eat healthier and have more desire for life. And it's just a beautiful thing. Like, the pendulum is swinging. The pendulum swung up towards sloth-like behavior, couch potato lifestyle, watching TV after work and not doing anything natural and fun and exciting, and living life to the fullest. And now we're coming back to like almost like a primitive way, where it's like the primitive stuff, the old school stuff worked for a reason. People were healthier. We're much safer now. There's a big difference today than there was back in the day, but we're still human. We're not robots. You're an organic flesh robot, basically. You're not a robot. You get my point. All right. You need to take care of your body, take care of your temple, as it's the only one you got. It's the only one you got. Which is why, if you're considering getting on TRT, you have to look at the safety handbook. You need to do your research, understand what you're getting into before you even consider it. People are being made aware of it, and I've been paying attention, and I notice people care. Like, people are starting to care. They're being more competent of their situation, and it's a nice change for once. It looks like things are balancing out, I would hope. Okay? The worst enemy of civilization and society, in my opinion, it's a double-edged sword, kind of, but this is a man's world. Regardless if you agree or not, it's a man's world. It's always been that way. If you change that, you're going to have way more of a negative impact, a net negative effect overall, versus a positive effect, which everyone is prosperous and happy. What I mean is, if you over-feminize men, and you take away their motivation, their natural state for getting after it and being a man and being stoic and being the hero for their family, you destroy society. Okay? I went way off topic, but I want you to know my reasoning behind why I do things. Right? I'm not lazy. I'm working towards a more efficient solution for me, so that I can provide and make everyone happy. That's my goal, to provide for others, to make everyone have fun and have a good time and know that they're protected and know that they're safe. My family, when I have my own family, I'm already ready for that. Okay? I've done the research. I've put in the work. So that's why I can confidently sit here and have a conversation with you. We're talking about homebrew, though. I keep going off subject. I tend to do this. My mind is a storm like that. It'll be all over, but I come back to center. You know, I'm giving you guys a little background of my philosophy towards life, so you can get to know me and see how I see things. You know, whether you care or not, it doesn't matter. It's just another guy yapping on YouTube. Who cares? But I'm here to inspire you, and I'm here to educate, and I'm here to warn you, and hopefully offer some guidance. Homebrew. Should you do it? Yes or no? That's up to you. I did it for an entire year. I homebrewed over 500 cc worth of oil, of gear, of steroids. Okay, I've done them all. Primobolan, equipoise, testosterone, what's the other one? NPP, which is nandrolone phenylprop. That's a short-acting deca. Decadurabolin, or whatever there's so many names for it. Deca, the old school Deca, short acting, NPP. Okay, how does it work? First, you need to learn how to do it in a sterile environment. You don't need to wear a fucking hazmat suit, right? And I might get a lot of heat from the community doing this video. I really don't fucking care, like, because I kind of got fucked over, and I'll tell you how in a second. When you purchase the raw powders from overseas, okay, you have to purchase it on an underground monetary network, which is Bitcoin. At the time, Bitcoin was very affordable, and it still is today. You know, I'll make another video talking about my theory on Bitcoin and why it's amazing. Big Bitcoin maxi, I was orange pilled a long time ago, but like I said, we're going to talk about that another time. Oh, I'm a little under the weather, guys. Forgive me. My voice sounds like shit. I'm going to try and shout at the camera so you can hear me. I don't have a mic yet. We're going to work on that soon. Get a nice little mic so I can hook it up and keep posting videos of quality. Where was I? The homebrew. Right. At the time, Bitcoin was cheap, and that's how I got fucked over. I had a decent amount of Satoshis in my wallet, and I used them to buy gear from overseas so I can learn how to homebrew and have my own gear and not have to rely on any doctors and doing blood work and none of that crap. Which, do your fucking blood work. I don't care what anyone says. Get your blood work looked at and make sure you're doing this right, because it's dangerous. All right? Dangerous. But it can be done in a safe manner, and there's ancillaries you can take. Do your cardio, eat healthy. You should have no issue with TRT. You should be confident going on TRT. A lot of people understand why it's so important, and it is, right? But people don't want to say the quiet part out loud. But I'm here to make a difference and change all that. Okay, so you order the gear from a secret website. I spent $1,000 for a course learning how to homebrew. That means you get the raw powders and you brew it at home. You're like, you're compounding. You're like a compounding pharmacy. You're making your own drugs. Okay, so I would do that. It's a very tedious, annoying process, but you don't have to wear a hazmat suit. You just need to make sure everything's super sterile and you don't contaminate, you don't cross-contaminate. The oil gets heated very lightly, and you put the powder in the oil and you just stay mixing, right? Then you got to filter it through some filters. That's very annoying because you're unless you have a special machine to do the filtering for you, it sucks. This is why I would say stay away from it. Plus, you're wasting your valuable Bitcoin on it. Why would you do that? Never do that. Never spend your Bitcoin. Always keep it. Fuck that. Don't be a fool like me, because I wanted to. My problem was, I went to a clinic, anti-aging clinic, to hop on so I could finally get on. I trained naturally for 6 years, and I made a decision. I'm low body fat, I'm healthy, I'm ready to get on cycle, right? That was my thought process. That should be everyone's thought process. So we did that, went to the clinic, and it ends up being $150, $200 a month, which is pretty expensive if you look at it. And they only give you a small dose, which is normal, because when you get on TRT, it's not about being super physiological. You're not going to be super physiological higher than your naturally production. What they're doing is they're just balancing out where you're at, right? So if you're supposed to be at 400 test, right, in your bloodstream, but you're at 200, the TRT will just bring you to the 400 or a little lower, and that's how they manage it. You're not going to pass that 400, you're just going to stay there. And I was like, you know what, that sounds kind of wussy. Let's go all in, let's fucking do this thing, right? So I ran TRT for a little bit, instant results, it was insane. It's totally awesome. You feel like a god. Even on TRT, you're like, wow, I'm back to my strong go-getter mode, which you should have been that way to begin with, but because society is so fucked up and everyone wants to propagandize you and to trick you and manipulate and deceive you and tell you you're a slave and you're not good enough, you need to speak up against that shit. Fuck that, right? Right. Okay? Beside the point. We'll be touching on that subject several times. You'll know. You're getting to know me. You're getting to know the real me. Uncensored and transparent, as I always will be. Unafraid. Unafraid. All right. So I finally made a decision. Well, this is expensive. How do I get as much of it as possible so that I can run a big boy cycle? And that's what we did. I was doing some digging. I came across another YouTuber. A lot of YouTubers like to sell things. I'm not a salesman. I'm not selling you anything right now. I hope I don't ever get to that point. I don't want to have to do that. What you see is what you get. Like, this is the sales pitch. I'm the product. You're looking at the product. Okay? So, yeah, I was tired of, after the first 2 months of TRT, I spent $400 and I barely got any cycle. I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. Why am I spending so much money just so a doctor can tell me I'm okay? Like, if I know I'm okay and I get my blood work done on my own, I could do this shit on my own, right? That's what I did. So I tried to find a source. I was going back and forth, but the timing was perfect. I found this YouTuber. He's like, buy my course. Okay, I spent $1,000 on a course, and that course, what it gave me, it taught me how to home brew at home my own steroids, right? You learn everything. You learn how to buy the vials, the needles, the filters, the oil, the gear, how to do it, etc., etc. It's $1,000 value. I think it was worth the money, but again, I spent Bitcoin on it, which isn't cool because now we're sitting at almost $110,000 a coin. I probably wouldn't be making this video, guys. Let's be honest. Maybe I would, but damn, I'd be chilling on a fucking yacht. I'd be pretty rich right now, but I fucked that up. No big deal. We're starting over. So, I learned all of it. I finally had the gumption to go ahead and make the purchase. I spent $500 and I got like a year and a half worth of steroids versus a month for $200. I spent a little more, but I got a fuck ton of it. Okay? And it's real. It was real because my results were insane. Like, I titrated up from 200 milligrams a week up to 500 to 600 milligrams a week. It was 500 primo and it was 500 test. So I was a total of 1 gram a week of gear, injecting twice a week. Okay. And I was so naive, right? Because I still didn't do enough research. So it would hurt. Like, the pip from the primobolan is so nasty, right? So I was doing shoulder injections, and I was doing this shoulder, and I was doing traps, injecting up here, and I was doing glute, never leg. And I'm going to warn you, do not inject your legs. Do not. It ain't worth it. You're not good enough yet. If you have 10 years plus experience, then maybe consider injecting your quad. But I'm against it. Other bodybuilders are going to say, shut the fuck up, don't matter, do your thing. But no, don't do it. You're a newbie. You don't know shit. That's why you're watching this video, okay? You're new at this, and I'm here to give you some advice. So there you go, guys. That's pretty much it. Like, you get a lot more bang for your buck on a home brew, but it's such a pain in the ass. The results were amazing. I do miss it. Everything was legit, imported from overseas. I'm not going to say where, but yeah. But we had to get rid of that, and I had to dig deep and find a source locally, and I have a decent source where I go to now, and the stuff's good. And now we're just cruising. So we had that insane cycle. We're just back to like TRT status, and I'm freaking jacked. I'm huge, and I'm loving every minute of it. And that's why, I feel good and confident, but a lot of time has gone by, and I'm not where I want to be in life. So we're really being a little more careful here with how we handle things. And I'm 33, so something's got to change, because my reasoning behind even my first motivation for even getting in the gym was I had to lose weight. I was 240 pounds, obese, man boobs, just freaking, I'm still self-conscious about my chest. It's not where it needs to be, or where I want it to be. But hey, body dysmorphia, everyone has a little bit of it. You know why that's the motivation to get in shape, right? To find women and to get laid and hopefully make some money somehow. None of that really happened. Yes, it did in a way. It just takes a really long time. Like, your patience has to be iron will. If you need an iron will patience to accomplish what you want. And you just have to be very steady, and slow and steady wins the race. That's the name of the game here. So that's why I even decided to homebrew. I saved some money, but it ended up backfiring because I lost a lot of money. I lost a fortune, basically, because Bitcoin was cheap at the time. So I really regret doing the homebrew. Even though I got the results I really wanted, I was looking insane. Like, I've never produced a shape that good. But we're going to slowly get back to there. And I know I can do it. So I am going to get back to there. And I don't plan on bodybuilding. I don't plan on stepping on stage. That's not my goal. I just want to live life to the fullest, and really experience every moment and be present, and really be strategic on how I approach life, and a little more careful. Sometimes in life you just got to go and like not think about it and just do things and take action. But sometimes you need to find that balance where you're contemplating your success already, and you take a step back and you go back in, right? You walk away and you go back into the fight. The fight never stops. It never does. But what else was important about homebrew? I think we got everything covered. It's a 50-50 thing. I don't recommend it. If you don't mind spending Bitcoin or crypto on it, then go ahead and do it. The delivery times were very slow. I was waiting over a month for the packages to arrive. It's much nicer having a source locally where I can just go and like drive down like 20 minutes and pick up. That to me is much more reliable and better. As far as quality goes, that's to be said, that's to be determined. I do know for sure that all the stuff I got was legit real because I cross-referenced with pictures, and you can see the crystals on the powder. They look identical, right? So it'll come in raw powder form. It has a distinct smell to it. It's a very weird smell, and it's gooey. Like, it'll turn gooey if it overheats because it's just a weird compound, right? It's medicine of some sort. But the Prima Bolin was legit. I brewed over 200 cc of that, 400 cc of test, 100 cc of EQ, no, 50 cc of EQ, 50 cc of NPP, all beautiful crystal clear oil. I had the best quality shit. I guarantee you, I could have turned that into a business, but I don't want to do illegal shit, right? Nobody wants to do that. So it is highly illegal. Don't fucking do it. Okay, don't do it. But yeah, homebrew. It's fun just to try it, but you're not gonna like it after all. But it depends on your situation, right? So be extremely careful. Go see a doctor. Determine if you need TRT. You can make that decision on your own, like I did. You know, I wasn't gonna wait on anything. I was just gonna go and do it. I wasn't waiting anymore. I was tired of waiting, tired of getting ripped off. Right? You shouldn't have to, it shouldn't be that expensive to buy fucking testosterone, something you need, because unfortunately the world is trying to tell you that you're a female and a fucking coward and a pussy. You know, that's the feminine imperative. That's what they want. No one wants to say that out loud, but it's the fucking truth. You can see it all around you. But thank God I'm seeing a change. And it's balancing out. So, all right. We're out of here, fellas. We'll talk soon, and stay safe out there. Peace.